lot's happened since yesterday!
You're an expert, Steve. So from your expert position, what do you think? Was Houdini all real escapes, or was he a little bit of smoke and mirrors?
Well, he was a magician. Like I wanted my escapes to be extreme sport, like extreme stunting, extreme like parkour or whatever, where you're seeing it. And what you see is what's really happening. Now, a lot of the stuff Harry did was extremely dangerous. I'm not going to put him down at all. He wanted to preserve some mystery to it. I mean, he was in the vaudevillian era where, there was great illusionists, huge stage shows and stuff. So he wanted people to walk away scratching their head. But some of the stuff he did it the way I was doing it. Like he'd get chained up, jump off a bridge into a river where there's thousands of people watching this. There's no trick there. There's no going behind a curtain, and he hung from cranes getting out of straitjackets and all these cool things. So I would say that guy definitely was the grandfather of all these things. And he was a great inspiration. So he did a combination of both things. I think given what he wanted to do, he'd prefer it to be more of a mystery, but he went out there and he did stuff in full view as well.
Well, let me ask you this, because when I was reading because we've known each other for a long time, so I've known your history, and in that sense, when I read the parts where you getting into the escape artistry and the lock picking, and where you said you did the why can't I think of the word, the apprenticeships at the at the locksmithing. That parallels a lot of what Houdini did back in his day. So I want to ask you, because I thought this when I read about Houdini back when I was a kid. How do you get into the mindset of this is what I want to do? Like, I want to be able to pick these locks and fuck it, throw me in a lake and I'll show you I can do it. Like, at what point does your brain go, fun, nah, let's freak some people out?
I mean, I left home at 15. I was adopted. My adopted family, real train wreck there. It's a mess. And so I left because I had a dream. I had somebody I wanted to be, and I had things I wanted to do. So I went and apprenticed for a locksmith. I worked for $10 a day. I slept on his concrete floor in a sleeping bag in the basement for a couple of years. The guy was a prick, very difficult guy to work for, and he'd often get drunk. He had an apartment behind the shop. He'd get drunk and stoned and pass out. So I'd come up and start playing with the customers' locks, and if I fixed something he hadn't taught me how to do, he'd smack me in the head when nobody was around for making him look bad.
Fuck.
Once he knew I knew how to fix locks, if I wasn't repairing locks, I'd get the smack the same. So like I started learning the locksmithing stuff because I felt that I needed it to do what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer your question of how all that went together with the extreme angles of things, I just wanted to do things that people could sink their teeth into and really feel. Because, as a musician or as a magician or an illusionist or an escape artist, I didn't want magic to be part of escapes. I wanted to throw that in the trash.
Right.
Because the two just don't go together. They shouldn't go together. And especially now in our cynical world, man, if you got all chained up and said, I'm going to duck in this room here and I'll be out in 5 minutes. I mean, people are like, fuck you. You're obviously got some gimmick or whatever.
Yeah.
So it came about through watching the evolution of audiences where I started to take these things and do them in a different way, because people they won't put up with it,
So, and I guess to that sense, like Ralph was saying, that I guess is where the smoke and mirrors of entertainment would come in. It's less because, like you said, on one end, if you just go, hey, look, I've got a pair of handcuffs I can get out of. Watch me break them real fast.
Right.
That's cool. But if you're doing it to what you said, hang me upside down by my ankles, and now there's some real meat to bite into, and there's the entertainment aspect, Well,
also to go with that, at a very young age, I was going around to cop shops,
mm-hmm.
and I was walking in this teenager going, hey, I'll show you a trick. You guys are bored today. Put your cuffs on me. I'll get out of them. And that led to jail cells. And then all of a sudden I had media coming out to cover those things. So now you're not just breaking out of your own shit, because this is what a lot of escape guys do. They're breaking out of their own stuff.
Right.
No, now you're going and, hey man, this guy just got out of a cell. This guy just broke out of an ancient dungeon or a fort or whatever. And I started to get press for all that stuff. And that, That builds up your scrapbook, your portfolio. Back then it was all printed press. And it was step by step towards the inevitable of let's do this stuff as hardcore as possible. And really, you know, music plays a big part in what I'm doing now, or what I did with the extreme stuff. It's like taking people on a journey. And, you know, Alice Cooper, as I said earlier, and then another band I love is Rammstein from Germany.
Hell yeah.
With the fire and the effects. I mean, it just seemed to be like so many escape guys that go on stage, right? And they insult their audience's attention by going, this is a set of regulation police handcuffs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fuck whatever. Bullshit. You know what? My idea was put yourself in a situation where you don't even have to explain it to the audience. They can see you chained to something. Drills are coming down a conveyor belt at your eyes, man. Motorized drills. And they see it getting closer and closer and closer and closer. They're with you now. They're with you in that situation. They're there every step of the way. And suddenly they start to feel it. You don't have to tell them. That's idiotic when guys go, look, I got a water can here. It's solid. Look at the lid, you know? Yeah, whatever. Why are you going to cover it with a curtain then if the thing's real? Don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah.
Take me on the journey.